Here are our top 25 rankings. Obviously, I think the question for a lot of people, would be, is the path there for Missouri? I think
no.
You don't think it's there. I think if they're 10-2, if they win out, which would include a win over right now number 3 A&M, and by then could be a top 10 OU team.
Yep.
If they play 4 ranked teams, and all 4 of those teams when they play them are top 10 teams, and they win 2 of those games, and they are 10-2, they are in the playoff.
Okay, so you've got the group of 5, which is probably Memphis.
Yes.
And then you'll have the ACC, which is probably UVA.
The ACC does potentially, surprisingly, run some issues into this, because if you look at all the schedules there, crazy things could happen. UVA and Louisville do not play each other until potentially the championship game, so they could both be one-loss teams going into the championship game. Based off the college football playoffs comments last year, losing in a conference championship game will not be held against you. I again say that's what they said last year. I have zero confidence that they'll keep that year to year. So that could be problematic. In the same time, as we're sticking with the ACC, there could be another one-loss ACC team. And if this is true, this completely throws everything off, because if Georgia Tech is a one-loss team, that means they beat Georgia. Right, so if that happens, good God almighty, I'm not sure exactly what it looks like. I'm not sure how high they could possibly be, but the ACC could legitimately throw some wrenches into the back end of the playoff.
Here's the problem that I have found with Mizzou trying to make a run is the big key for them is going to be Georgia, because they would have to come up with essentially a miracle tiebreaker against the Bulldogs. So Mizzou wins out. Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Arkansas finished 10-2. Oklahoma would have to beat Alabama. Texas would have to beat Georgia, and Texas would have to lose to Texas A&M. Vanderbilt would have to lose to Tennessee, and then Mizzou would have to win a tiebreaker over Bama. Common opponent is Oklahoma. They'd have to win a tiebreaker over Texas. Common opponent would be Texas A&M, but I can't find a tiebreaker for Mizzou to beat Georgia. And then I don't know if Mizzou loses in the SEC championship game to Alabama. I don't know if the 3-loss Mizzou goes to the championship. But I cannot find a tiebreaker against Georgia. That's my problem.
That's a really good point. The Georgia schedule is, and again, if because they still have potentially Georgia Tech keeps winning by the end of the season. Could Georgia Tech climb to 13? And be a top 13 team when Georgia potentially whomps them in the last game
and Georgia,
on their schedule.
But that's a non-conference game.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
So Georgia, I think even a 2-loss Georgia losing to Alabama and Georgia Tech, that would trump the Mizzou losses.
2-loss Alabama.
Yeah, at home.
And a 2-loss Georgia Tech.
You lost to Vandy on the road.
You did lose to Vandy, but you'd have a win over number 3 Texas A&M and a win over a top 10 OU.
Yeah, but I think they're looking at the losses.
But why? I mean,
because
the losses matter.
Georgia's wins are better, or at least equal to Mizzou's wins. Mizzou doesn't even have a signature win.
But they would have 2 in this
this
scenario that I'm saying. They would have 2. That's what I'm just saying. If they go 10-2 in this scenario, one other thing is the OU win could be even bigger if OU somehow beats Alabama and then Mizzou beats Oklahoma. Then they're definitely dancing at that point. In that scenario, if Mizzou beats an OU team that beat Bama, that's an absolutely crystallized. That's 2 crystallized, potentially top 7 wins.
Okay,
for Mizzou, that's pretty big. Georgia, by the way, has lost to Alabama, but has beaten number 23 Tennessee, number 7 Ole Miss, and that's their 2 big wins. That's Ole Miss and Tennessee. Mizzou has a better resume at 10-2 at that point than Georgia does. Georgia would have wins over Texas and Tennessee and Ole Miss. I guess that is a better resume, but not that much better. It is better though. You're right. You're not wrong.
And then the other one that you have to look out for is Texas, because a 2-loss Texas, if they finish 10-2, I do too. But if you look at what they will have accomplished, if they win the rest of their games, number one, Their two losses are to Ohio State, and then they lost to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But they will have beaten Oklahoma. They'll have beaten Vanderbilt. They'll have beaten Georgia. And they would have beaten Texas A&M. Hey, Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets when DraftKings launches on December 1st. Download the app now and place a $5 bet when DraftKings goes live, and DraftKings Sportsbook will bring everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when DraftKings officially goes live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the sportsbook app trusted by millions. It's safe, it's secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when DraftKings goes live December 1st in Missouri. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Yeah, okay. If Texas wins out with Georgia and Texas A&M on the board, yes, you're 100% right there. Texas is in if they win out, because that's Georgia, that's A&M, and although probably they were the lowest ranked at the time, they would also have the Oklahoma win. That'd be a good point. That'd be 3 really good top 15 wins for Texas, maybe top 10 wins. Texas is probably in. That's a good point. Mizzou is in with a win out. Correct again. I think I think most situations, yes, but I think there are a couple permutations where everybody in the SEC above you right now is winning more than they need to. No one else drops a game. And then to Randy's point, there's potentially a situation where Mizzou gets squeezed out at the very back end.
And then look at Ole Miss also, because I think Ole Miss probably will have the advantage over Mizzou.
Ole Miss would have wins over LSU. Are we still counting that?
No.
Okay, fine. They would have a win over Oklahoma, and that's it. Because they have Florida coming up. That doesn't mean anything anymore.
They only have one loss right now, right?
But they have one loss, and they have one loss. But their wins, only big win is over Oklahoma, and their losses.
Who do they
to
have
Georgia.
this week?
They have Citadel, and then Florida, okay, and then Mississippi State. They got nothing left.
So then Ole Miss is probably a one-loss team.
Yes, correct.
So I don't think you can put them in ahead of that. Big 12, BYU and Texas Tech, probably both could make an argument. Oregon's going to be ahead of Mizzou. Notre Dame, and they're playing great. A 2-loss Notre Dame with their losses are way better than Mizzou's losses, right?
I think Oregon this weekend is fascinating because Iowa has played Indiana the closest. Mm-hmm. So Iowa could potentially throw a wrench into Oregon. That would be a big help to Mizzou.
Yeah. So I would
BYU Texas Tech this weekend. Yeah. How far does one of them fall if it's not a close game? If it's a close game, does that screw Mizzou over in a way? How much does that match up this weekend kind of affect these things?
Yeah, I would love to be able to find a way. And by the way, we're talking about Mizzou winning out with a freshman quarterback too.
No, we're not going to talk about how the realities of the situation. Okay? Damn it. Cronky Hater does say Bama and Vandy aren't bad losses at all.
No, I'm just saying that there are teams with better losses than those losses. And Vandy losing last week doesn't really help you an awful lot, even though it was a close game against Texas.
It doesn't help you at all. Vandy could still they have Tennessee left on their schedule, so they could still get a quality win that would kind of pump up the resume of what you just lost to. Again, the Alabama-Oklahoma one's kind of interesting because, to your point, do you care more about wins or losses? Does it matter more that they lost to Alabama if they lose to Oklahoma, or that they beat Oklahoma that beat Bama? I hate that I'm talking like this, but this is how my brain is. This is the pretzel my brain now gets tossed into every time these rankings get thrown out. How do they weigh these things? I went through
all of this last night after this came out, and my biggest thing is and you know this, number 5 Georgia. I just don't see a path past Georgia. I think even if Mizzou would beat A&M would have to lose to Texas. But then if A&M loses to Texas, then Texas is ahead of you. So you've got real issues here.
So we're talking about 11 Power 5 teams making it, obviously. So right now, if you talk about how does Mizzou get into the top 11 and who stops them, one of BYU and Texas Tech could fall out. There's an open spot right there because everybody else you're jumping kind of makes sense. One of those can fall out, and then I guess, yeah, to your point, at that point, one of the ACC teams is probably in over you because it's probably a one-loss ACC team.
And by the way,
and that's the
Texas,
11.
Yeah, if BYU or Texas Tech drops out, Utah probably slinks into the top 12 at some point.
If Mizzou wins against A&M,
big win. Good win.
Let's say a lot.
That's ours.
Unknowing what else happens here. Let's say everyone else wins the way they're supposed to, and I think BYU, Texas Tech is the only top 25 teams facing off each other above Mizzou. How far does Mizzou jump with a win over Texas A&M? 18?
They could probably get to 18. Yeah, it depends on what happens with the teams in front of them.
They need people to lose in front of them.
Yeah. So Michigan's probably not going to beat Ohio State, so you don't need to worry about them in the long run.
No.
This weekend, Iowa probably falls to Oregon, right?
It's one of the few upsets I could see happening.
Yeah. USC, you could pass Miami, maybe. Because regardless of what Miami does, because you beat the number 3 team in the land. I think you could probably move in.
You're probably held up by Georgia Tech, though.
Yeah.
That's your stopping point right now for Mizzou with 1 week.
Vanderbilt, if Vanderbilt is a 2-loss team that beat Mizzou.
That's the thing is every Vandy loss kind of bites you in the ass in one way, but kind of helps you in the other one. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, kind of thing.
Though. We've seen wild stuff happen. I just don't know if in the last 4 weeks, if there's a chance that we can have a 22 team jump 10 spots in 4 weeks. That'd be unprecedented, I believe.
And again, it's more like 11 spots.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, exactly.
Because Memphis isn't going to be in the top 12, so it's essentially you got to get top 11 because Memphis gets that 12 spot essentially.
Yeah, so you'd have to move 11 spots.